Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix, the final race before the real summer break and a race that has really grown on me over the years, I've got to say. It always felt like a bit of a dull race growing up, but as time's gone on and certainly in more recent years, the racing has improved a lot at the track and it's now a race weekend I do tend to look forward to. Hopefully, I've not just jinxed the entire event there. But last time out F1 was in Belgium, where Oscar Piastri, after a long wait, took victory on Sunday from teammate Lando Norris in another McLaren 1-2. But now it is on to the 4.381 kilometre, 2.72 mile, 14 corner Hungaroring for round 14 of the season. Once again, just the two DRS zones in use for this one, with the first running between turns 1 and 2 and the second down the very long start-finish straight. Both zones, by the way, sharing the same detection point, which sits just before the final corner. Where will we see the action on Sunday, if any? Well, turn 1 at the end of that long DRS zone is where we tend to see most side-by-side action, and that often continues down to turn 2, which, although trickier than that first corner, is also another good spot to get a move done. The rest of the lap is very tight and twisty, so it's tough to get by, which means those first two turns really are the best places to try and overtake. The circuit itself has hosted 39 races since its debut on the World Championship calendar in 1986. Insert my annual "that was the same year I was born" line here, with 20 different drivers taking victory over the years, Lewis Hamilton taking the most wins in Hungary with 8, and that is double that of the second most successful driver at the track, Michael Schumacher. So that's 8 wins for Hamilton, 4 wins for Schumacher, and the driver in third place on the list of most wins in Hungary is none other than Ayrton Senna, who picked up 3 wins at the circuit during his career. That is not a bad list of drivers at all, is it? And did you know that if we include the wet options, 8 is the total number of tyres available in the whole Pirelli range? 8 divided by 4 is 2, and that is the number of dry tyre compounds that must be run in a dry race. 3 is the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend, and as an added bonus, 6 drivers have taken their maiden F1 wins in Hungary, and 6 is the number of dry tyre compounds in the whole Pirelli range. Oh yes, that's right, not only am I losing my mind with these, but it is also the first ever quadruple segue into tyre talk time. I want to cry. The compounds available for this one then are towards the soft end of the range, and so they are the hard C3, the medium C4, and the soft C5. As you may remember, the circuit is currently undergoing some major renovations, with much of the main straight and the pit lane being resurfaced ahead of this year's event, to add to the paddock refurbishment and changes to other facilities, including the main grandstand and the pit complex. Although not a huge area of the circuit has been resurfaced, it is just worth bearing in mind because it will take time to lay the rubber down, and the low grip pit entry could be interesting early on in the weekend. Now, Pirelli says that graining could be a factor on Friday, but should become less of an issue as the track rubbers in. But the big thing to keep an eye on here is thermal degradation, which is made worse by the high temperatures we tend to see at Hungary, as well as the darker track surface. It's also worth a mention that track evolution in Budapest is fairly high, but with Formula 2, Formula 3 and Porsche Super Cup on the support schedule, it won't take too long for the rubber to be laid down and the track to be cleaned up. Last year's winning strategy was a 2-stopper, with race winner Oscar Piastri starting on the mediums before pitting on lap 18 for a set of hards, and then again on lap 47 for another set of mediums, which he ran to the end of the race. All but one driver who finished pitted twice last year, by the way, with Yuki Tsunoda the only one to try and make a one-stopper work, and he did do that on his way to 9th place. The safety car isn't a regular feature in Budapest, with just 5 of the last 10 races at the track featuring at least one full or virtual safety car period. That said, that is half of them, so I suppose it could go either way. But on paper, given the old-school nature of the track and the barriers never too far away, one could easily crop up to throw a strategy curveball at the teams. As for the weather, honestly, it kind of depends on where you look. At time of recording, which is, if you're interested, Wednesday afternoon, some sites are saying that it will stay dry with a slight risk of a shower on Saturday and Sunday, ranging from a 20% risk to a 50% risk in time for lights out. Other forecasts say, though, that sessions should stay dry, but rain will be around in the mornings, which will still have an impact, of course, because any heavy showers could wash away the rubber laid down. So, and you probably could argue this every week, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but away from any potential rain, it is currently expected to be quite warm across the event. And as always, the latest forecast as of Thursday morning is on screen for you now, but there is still plenty of time for that to change between now and the weekend. And your schedule for this one is back to a normal format following last week's sprint. That means FP1 will get the weekend underway on Friday at 12:30 p.m. BST, and that is followed later that afternoon by FP2 at 4 p.m. Saturday's F1 action kicks off with FP3 at 11:30 a.m. with qualifying underway from 3 p.m. And it will be lights out for the race on Sunday at 2 p.m. and once again that is in UK time. Now, before I make my final round of predictions ahead of the summer break, let's have a quick run through a couple of news stories and talking points ahead of the event in Budapest. First up, Mercedes technical director James Allison has come to the defence of Kimi Antonelli after the rookie continued his disappointing run of form in Belgium, a run that has seen him pick up just 1 points finish in the last 7 races and has included 4 retirements, although 3 of those were out of his control due to mechanical issues and damage sustained after he was hit by Isack Hadjar at Silverstone. But anyway, Allison said that, like the whole team, the young Italian is fed up with the current string of results, but agreed with George Russell's stance that the team has made mistakes with its direction of car development, and that has gone on to hamper Antonelli's performance. He added that if the car isn't where it needs to be, then it will be, quote, a struggle getting through the qualifying stages in your rookie season in F1, and it is utterly clear to all of us that the thing we need to do is make the car better, and then Kimi's fortunes will reverse with that. Allison also admitted that both drivers have said that the car has become more difficult to handle in recent races, specifically becoming more unstable under braking in high speed and turning in at high speed, but he is hopeful the team will be able to reverse the problems that have been introduced starting this weekend in Hungary. Whilst we're on the subject of Mercedes, keep an eye on any news coming from the team ahead of this weekend, because PlanetF1.com understands that George Russell is set to sign a multi-year contract extension with the team, and that news could be confirmed as soon as this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. As always with this sort of thing, lots of ifs and buts, of course, coulds and maybes and all of that business, but that is the latest as I sit here and record this on Wednesday afternoon. Elsewhere, Audi has announced a new title sponsor as the iconic brand prepares to join the Formula One grid in 2026. The team confirmed ahead of the Budapest weekend that it will partner with British multinational neobank and fintech company Revolut. The partnership is promising to provide new ways for fans to interact with the sport on F1 race weekends, plus exclusive benefits for Revolut customers. Revolut will also be heavily involved in the team's financial and merchandise sale operations. Team principal Jonathan Wheatley describing the deal as, quote, more than a brand fit, it is a strategic alliance engineered to challenge conventions in motorsport. All the buzzwords. And Paul Aron will make his second and final practice appearance for Sauber on Friday morning as the, let's call it a loan agreement, between Alpine and the Swiss team comes to an end. Aron, who took part in FP1 at Silverstone where he finished the session in 17th, a couple of tenths quicker than Bortoletto, albeit on a softer tyre, will be behind the wheel of Nico Hülkenberg's car for FP1. At time of recording, which is, to be precise, 1:41 p.m. on Wednesday, I haven't seen any other driver changes for practice for this one, but if I have missed any, then apologies, and I'll put something on screen here if any other changes have been confirmed in the meantime. Right then, let's make some predictions, shall we? And as ever, please do not take these too seriously. They're just a little bit of fun. But if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last time, okay, still not great, but I was right on Piastri for the win and Norris P2. So it is nice to see some I was right green on the graphic for a change. But yeah, wrong on everything else. This week, look, I know it's probably getting really boring picking McLaren as a team to beat every week, but let's face it, they are the team to beat pretty much every weekend now. And if it stays dry in Hungary, I just don't see anyone stopping them. It's not the easiest track to pass on, so if someone like Verstappen or Leclerc or whoever can nick pole position on Saturday, they might have a chance at keeping them at bay and pulling off a surprise. But whilst it's tricky, it's not impossible to pass, and that long straight should give the McLaren drivers the chance to take the lead and the win at some point, given their apparent pace advantage. So I am going for another Papaya 1-2, with Oscar Piastri taking pole and the win to respond to Lando Norris's Austria-Britain back-to-back with one of his own, but I will go with Norris's second place on Sunday, surprise, surprise. Behind them, though, it could be anyone. Mercedes have had a good few years in Budapest during this current regulation era, having been on the podium 2 of the last 3 races here, so they might go well. But given Mercedes' apparent step backwards of late, I'm actually going to go with Max Verstappen for P3 in that Red Bull. Elsewhere, I'll go with Racing Bulls as the 5th best finishing team on Sunday, and I hope that Isack Hadjar can end his points scoring drought as well. We'll see. As for some separate bolder picks, I'll go with Franco Colapinto to qualify inside the top 12 on Saturday. I'll say that Yuki Tsunoda picks up his first points for Red Bull since, brace yourself, Imola. I know, and for one final bold prediction, I'll say that with perhaps a little bit of luck, and he may well need it, Fernando Alonso drags that Aston Martin tractor to a top 5 finish on Sunday, and yes, I did say bold to be fair. That is it, though, for the Hungarian Grand Prix preview, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back on Saturday and Sunday with the qualifying and race watch-alongs, but in the meantime, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel in its never-ending battle with that pesky YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing too so you don't miss any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.